Happy Thursday. Hey, everybody. We have got just a heck of an SJU today. It is all in support of direct relief and Black Lives Matter. There are links in the description for how you can support all of that. I have got with me a Joe Starr. Hello, Joe Starr.
Hello.
I have got with me a Spencer Gilbert. Hello,
Good
Spencer
morning.
Gilbert. We are going to celebrate and eulogize the rise and fall of one of the greats. With us too short or light-lived, but we appreciate it anyway. Quibi. And then stick around because we're going to talk about the only thing that I want to talk about for the rest of my life, and that is the movie Money Plane. We're going to get real into that Money Plane.
Money Plane.
So first, we got to go ahead and talk about the Quibs. This is via The Verge. So streaming service Quibi only managed to convert a little under 10% of its early wave of users into paying subscribers, and that is mobile analytics firm Sensor Tower, and now we know why other people don't give us those numbers. According to the firm's new report on Quibi's early growth, the short-form video platform signed up about 910,000 users in its first few days, so almost a million. Of those users, only about 72,000 stuck around. After the 3-month trial. You've watched all the Reno 911 there was, and you decided that there was nothing else that was going to be there for you. And of course, those numbers are not to be confused with the number of current paying subscribers that Quibi has. They have not disclosed that. They are not going to disclose that if I had to guess. But Sensor Tower estimates that only 4.5 million people have even downloaded the app. The discrepancy between the figures between that and Quibi's official one, it suggests that Sensor Tower could also be off in its estimates of how many users Quibi converted in its first 3 days. Quibi itself, again, they're not giving us a bunch of the numbers, but they're saying that the conversion rate is larger than what Sensor has been providing. And in a statement given to The Verge, a Quibi spokesperson said, "The number of paid subscribers is incorrect by an order of magnitude." That's a big phrase for
much
Quibi.
Lower. Yeah.
Just say it's much lower. Look, you guys only do things for 15 minutes. Why are we using these big words like magnitude? To date, only 5.6 million people, or over 5.6 million people have downloaded the Quibi app. Our conversion from download to trial is above mobile app benchmarks, and we are seeing excellent conversion to paid subscribers, both amongst our 90-day free trial signups from April, as well as our 14-day free trial signups from May and June. And so obviously we don't know because Quibi themselves is not going to give us the number. All of these streaming services are notoriously very tight-lipped with the numbers unless they want to make sure that we know that Stranger Things had a great weekend, and so we're not going to know which one is more accurate. Fellas and Sarah, wherever she is, did y'all Quibs? Hey Sarah, did you Quibs, Sarah?
Spencer quibbed. I queebed, yeah.
You queebed?
I queebed for my free trial. There was a mix of things on there. I enjoyed the Reno 911 reboot. I enjoyed that horror anthology about the woman with the golden arm. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was what I did want to say. I will say that.
And I liked Evan Funke's. He's like a pasta chef, and he goes to a bunch of different Italian grandmothers and learns a new shape of Italian pasta. That was nice. These are all things that could have been on YouTube or at least supported by advertising. I feel like there was nothing that I don't know. I mean, it's like a clip from Reno 911. It's like a 5-minute long sketch. These are all things that I can get for free. And in a time when you are asking, not just what should I pay for HBO Max and Hulu, but should I pay for Netflix and enough food and medicine for my family?
Should I pay for antibiotics if I have to take those? Yeah. Should I pay for anything that's not ramen? It is kind of should I pay my rent? People have a lot of things that they need to figure out if they're going to pay right now.
So Queebin is pretty low on most people's list, and it didn't give me enough to stay Queebin. But you were quoting a lot of numbers and stuff like that, and it's they were talking about how their percentages or what have you are good for mobile app benchmarks. And it's interesting because Disney Plus, I was reading, they also converted only 11% of their free trial people. But when 50 million people or more than that sign up, that 11% is millions and millions more people paying you money every month that you can then develop new projects with.
Yep.
If you have 11% of 10, then you know what happens.
Yeah, no, that all of those numbers and benchmarks definitely sound like the PowerPoint of a media company telling you that everyth's fine. Yeah. And that we're killing it, in fact.
Which is funny because what that usually means is that next week everyone gets laid off.
Yeah, we've sat in that room before. I just look from the inception of this thing, when the pop culture model is Comedy Central's begging you to turn on your TV to watch full episodes of Key and Peele, and the world's just like, nah, I'd rather just not make any effort and watch little quick bites of Key and Peele on YouTube for free and not have to pay for cable and not have to pay with the body effort of lifting a remote and sitting down and committing time. I don't, to quote Jerry Seinfeld, who were the ad wizards? I just don't understand how you go, man, what if YouTube, but money?
Yeah, I mean, it's YouTube, but money plus celebrities, which I think that currency is the celebrities have been exposed, you guys. It turns out we don't like them just as a whole, as a class of people. They don't do it for us anymore. The ad wizards are Jeffrey Katzenberg, who's, legendary. Thank you for Shrek, Mr. Katzenberg. We salute you. And Meg Whitman. Okay. They gave us her Meg. From those articles, it was like they asked her what her favorite, what she watches, what she's into, and she's like, I don't know, Grant. It's a biography about the U.S. President Grant on the History Channel. And Jeffrey Katzenberg, same article, gets his emails printed out and handed to him. These are the kind of people that look at the young people, they're always on their phones, and this stuff's garbage. We can do it better, but we'll put our famous friends on it. It's like that's not the deal. That's not the appeal.
No, well, and you can do that, but ad support it. It's just like you said, the reason why people go from, and one of the huge reasons why people would be like, oh, I'm just going to watch this 5-minute clip of a Key and Peele sketch that's on YouTube is because I'm not paying for that thing. And a lot of us don't have cable. And so the idea that we're going to pay monthly to watch these 5-minute bites of things that are essentially like little sketches you can get on YouTube, we were not going to do that. However, that is not what Jeff Katzenberg said was the reason why we weren't doing this. And it could be that he's making funnies. So I do want to say right off the bat, he said, they later said he was making funsies. But when he did talk to the New York Times, he was like, Miss Rona did it. It was all the COVID. He said, I attribute everything that has gone wrong to coronavirus.
Oh,
everything. Yeah. Not everything. I mean, it couldn't help. It couldn't help to have a pandemic and an economic collapse happen when you're trying to start any business.
I mean, it definitely, Spencer, makes your food and medicine analogy earlier a lot more real.
Yeah. No, that was literally people are not choosing between streaming services; they're choosing between entertainment and survival. So tough time to launch any business. But I don't know if it was free and ad supported. I think that there's a chance there if there was a tier that you didn't have to pay for to start watching, or if it was more reasonably priced, if it was $3 a month instead of $7. That's just the prices they're charging are insane for what you're getting.
Yeah.
And we should mention real quick, guys, mention that Quibi itself did at least say that he was joking.
Yeah, that's what.
But obviously they'll say that. So, use your own.
And he could have been. We weren't there. And it does happen sometimes where someone will be like,
Some people are very bad at saying jokes.
Some people are very bad at saying jokes. And maybe not necessarily knowing that when you're doing this huge New York Times interview where they're talking about where your thing failed, you're like, virus, man, all virus.
Yeah.
So another thing that has been cited as being one of the reasons why this might not be working is that when it launched in April, you couldn't share it to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or Reddit, which we all know those things drive lots of traffic. If you can, if the right person posts it and it gets put through. I mean, I swear, everyone made fun of TikTok when it was just ads on Facebook. And then as soon as people started doing decent TikToks and they were being linked on Twitter, then all of a sudden people were paying attention to TikTok like it was a thing.
Oh, no joke. The only reason I signed up for my free trial was I saw somebody taking phone video of another phone of that Golden Arm scene. And they're laughing along to it. And I'm like, Holy shit, I need to get Quibi.
I need to know what this is. Yeah.
And if we would have been able to share that Golden Arm scene from the source, then I think more people would have wanted to go watch them Golden Arms.
We'd all be Queebing right now.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's weird trying to do like a rip-off YouTube and not follow the basic tenets of what makes stuff like that work. Like, YouTube wouldn't work if you couldn't share out videos. It's really bizarre to me, the number of just strange decisions that they made.
Just weird decisions. So now they've discovered their wrongs, and so Katzenberg and the team are saying that they're working on ways to ensure that Quibi is less walled off from the internet. People will eventually be able to share Quibi content on social media. There's no estimated time frame for when that feature will be available. My guess is that Chloe, the director of marketing, will let us know right after everyone has stopped being signed up.
I think what they need is sorry, I have a lot of just random.
No, please give me your Quibs thoughts.
Queebs, if you will.
For one thing, we've been talking about the advertising model, right? And you'd think that if anyone can take advantage of the old cigar smoking boys club, it's Katzenberg. You'd think Katzenberg, of all people, could make a couple calls and then suddenly have, some multi-million-dollar campaigns attached to Quibi. He's still of that old school class where, that's how it works. Everybody in their smoking jacket shakes hands and smacks each other in the butt. And then, I don't know, whatever they do at the Bohemian Grove, right?
Well, what they do next is obviously they go into the steam room in their towels. If I know anything about rich people.
Fight a Russian mobster, I don't know. But where was I going to go outside of that? Oh, they need a patron saint. They need a Zack Snyder, like Vero has Zack Snyder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Quibi needs, instead of just...
I mean, I love Reno 911, but they need, instead of everybody's already been chewed leftovers, they're like, okay, Quibi might buy it. You're right. They don't have like a list, like have to see this Queeb.
Was the Real Doll thing on Quibi? I can't even remember.
Yes.
There was that Real Doll thing. Yeah,
and I guess effed a Real Doll, I think, or no, her boyfriend was, and she
her boyfriend was, and then she became best friends with the Real Doll, who she also did the voice of, and then they go on a feminist road trip.
Okay.
Yay!
And again, right up there with the Golden Arm, man. If you could have put that out where people could see it, I think that maybe somebody would want some
Maybe
fighters.
if they put Shrek on Quibi. You know what? Like all the DreamWorks stuff has like now Quibi shows. Can you do that?
Or you just give Shrek a Quibi. I don't know what that means.
Give Shrek a Quibi.
That sounds dirty. That sounds like that belongs in the Urban Dictionary.
Or I mean, like the thought of the even though I like give Shrek a Quibi better, you pay Dave Chappelle all the money in the world, and now for the next 5 to 10 years. Quibi is the only place you see Chappelle.
That's cruel.
I mean, it's cruel, but it's like they need it. They need a patron saint.
You're right. That is absolutely what they needed.
And it's Shrek. I think you're right. It's Shrek. But
Shrek is love. Shrek is life. Shrek is Queebin'. It's just Queeb. Other things, other problems with the app. You could only get it on mobile. You couldn't get it on any of your TV things. You couldn't take screenshots of the app, which that is common of a lot of mobile things where you'll try to take a screenshot of something on Hulu and you'll only get like a black screen, but you weren't able to take any screenshots, which means no meme potential whatsoever. And then Katzenberg says there are a whole bunch of things we have now seen in the product that we thought we got mostly right, but now there are hundreds of people using it and you go, we didn't see that.
I'm calling it Golden Arm Syndrome.
Bury me with my golden arm, you guys.
I can't meme the golden arm. This is garbage. I mean, I'll give this to Quibi. Their app worked when it launched.
It did. They should have asked us.
And not for Disney reasons. Not for Disney Plus reasons. Disney's also didn't work, but it was different reasons.
I think that if there's one shining, I don't know if I'm supposed to save this for my eulogy, but the app is nice. It's a nice looking app. It works. You can find stuff like I find Hulu confusing still. Like there's a reason why just a grid of shows makes sense and why HBO Max and Disney Plus and Netflix all use that. who Quibi was like a nice interface, and as awkward as it must have been to direct and shoot things in 2 different aspect ratios, it is kind of cool how seamless it is to like go phone up, phone to the side, phone up, phone to the side, and like there's no lag, there's no anything. It's just like you have this little window into the show you're watching that you can move around. That was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. I'd Queeb. I hope maybe somebody buys the Queeb technology and puts it in their shows.
And you know what? That's often what happens with these kind of, because in some ways it is both coming late in terms of being, a quite quick bite-sized platform, but in other ways there are things it's doing that are interesting. And so I honestly think that will wind up, YouTube or Google will be like, give me the flippy thing, because we're going to use the flippy thing. And then if people choose that they want to do, if Binging with Babish decides that you got to see that pasta in multiple aspect ratios, then that's what he's going to do. They did sign a lot of big name creators and talent, which again, just didn't seem to really work for them. So we know Katzenberg, obviously, we talked about Shrek. Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life. Also big part of the Disney resurgence in the early 90s. Why do we think that he missed the mark here? And can we say it without saying he's old?
I mean, it's look, things fail constantly in entertainment. It's no stranger to it, but there just seems to be like a undercurrent of contempt with Quibi and it is an old versus young thing, or at least an intergenerational thing of like, it seems like you kids with your phones are watching garbage. And we can do better than that. Yeah, but they don't get it, Danielle. Like our show is garbage, but people are watching it because they like us. It's this horrible parasocial thing where they think they're our friends. You're not. You're Danielle's friend, Joe's friend. You're not my friend. But that's the appeal.
We're not his friend either. It's good.
Like you're literally in our bedroom, we're hanging out together. We're talking about stuff like. It's actually worse if I were Anna Kendrick and this looked good. That's not the appeal. So it's from a bird's eye view of looking down, right? God's eye view from their Mount Olympus looking down and be like, we can have more attractive people do that with like slicker production values and charge those idiots money for it. That's the vibe. That is how it felt.
And while we discuss this, I am downloading the app.
Oh, good. Joe's gonna Queeb live.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna Queeb live.
Watch Reno 911. It's the same. It's great if you like the first one.
You know what? I love Reno 911. It's the only reason I would ever Queeb. Does this get like sold off at some point, like auctioned off for IP and engineering scraps? Because like you said, Spencer, the aspect ratio shift is really cool. Like, does Disney Plus just buy it? So
someone buys the infrastructure or something. I think absolutely, like someone is going to come in and be like, we will buy your failure thing because we like the different technical aspects of it, which again, that does genuinely happen a lot. Is there any other way it can be saved besides being sold for parts like a sad Android in the future?
Marcus Y in the chat brought up selling user info, but it seems like, which I like, that's the point. All these places sell user info. That's what they're all based on, but it doesn't seem like they got the user info to be worth the investment.
Gotta have users.
Yeah, the users watch 20 seconds of this 8-minute video. Do you want to buy that? Yeah. No? Okay.
And in terms of like buying other stuff, we also had someone in the, Sarah Risley in the chat also said, I'm calling it now. Facebook purchases content and expands their platform to increase use of watching parties.
Okay. Yeah, Facebook. I mean, Chicken Soup for the Soul bought Crackle. Everyone wants a streaming service these days.
I think the only thing that could make the internet hate Quibi more is if Facebook bought Quibi. Like, Facebook already just murdered digital media once, and I think the idea of them buying this thing that everyone is already side-eyeing would be the absolute worst. I'm trying to think of an indigenous people that Mark Zuckerberg could sue that would make people angrier than that. One.
It's but it's gonna happen. Is what you. Sarah's right. Like, they are right. It is going to happen. Like, it is going to wind up being that Facebook or one of these big companies winds up buying it. Facebook actually feels like a pretty perfect and spot on place. And then once again, they can lie to us about how many people are watching things, and we can watch more of our friends lose jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of losing jobs, each panelist, we're now going, which is something we have to acknowledge. Like when these things happen, it sucks because there are real people who work on these, and they had this opportunity to make work. And so hopefully, when eventually they get laid off, which I'm sorry is gonna happen within the next 6 months, they can find something quickly. But back to our silly, we are now gonna say our final words about the Quibi.
So as we pour one out, since this is going to be a little more somber. Moulton, could you give us a little mood music? Thank you.
If it wasn't so much effort, I would take off my wig and doff it. But I just couldn't put it back on.
Vinny, do you want to get us started?
Well, Quibi, we barely knew you. I'm gonna do it as Shrek. I was right there. You could have had me. Me and Jeffrey Katzenberg go way back. I love you. Always have. Always will. Why didn't you do a Shrek, the Quibi series? I could have talked about whatever was happening. Chrissy Teigen. She's a friend.
I will say to Quibi, Quibi, you started with a stupid name. You ended with stupid shows, and we will always remember you as part of, when someone goes back and does I love 2020, because I think we can't do this
Nobody
as a
loves
decade.
2020.
No one loves it, but we can't do it as a decade now. Like 2020 is an entire decade. So when we look back on the decade that is 2020, Quibi, you will be one of the parts that we could make guilt-free jokes about, and that will be your lasting legacy.
Dear Quibi,
Oh.
I just met you, and I'm watching celebrities in their homes reenacting Princess Bride, something that you expected me to pay money for, but not be able to share to my social media when I saw a part of it that I enjoyed. Quibi, I'm really going to enjoy watching this for the next...
Put it down, Joe. Do you want to get sued?
Forget about you forever. Seriously, Quibi, there was a several-month period where most of our friends and peers had meetings with Quibi. And I was very excited about our fellow YouTubers, movie reviewers, schmodowners, movie...
I had a couple of auditions for Quibi.
Danielle's. I was very excited for the opportunity for at least some of us to pay the rent with Katzenberg bucks for a while. Thank you for at least dangling that carrot in front of our friends. Tip of the hat.
Tip of the hat. All right. Now, on to something that is first in my heart and in my brain. We're talking money plane.
Money plane. Do we have to do any get some stuff out of the way? Say some.
I didn't see. I think we did the stuff early. I think we're moving the stuff up so that people can do the thing. No. We gotta look.
Pleases and thank yous today.
It's pleases and thank yous. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Now I'm going to talk about what happens when you can bet on a gator banging a dude, because we're going to talk about money plane.
Money plane.
There is so much.
For full disclosure, Danielle, this segment was originally the three of us explain money plane to Roth, and then a few minutes before the show started, Roth had boss things. Because she's the one that flies the money plane. So now this is just going to be us just loving money plane.
Explaining money plane to you, the viewing audience.
Yes.
For those of you who have not seen Money Plane, so yes, Money Plane is a movie.
I gotta cancel this Quibi thing so I don't forget about it and get charged in a month.
Cancel culture. So Money Plane.
Quibi's about to start bitching about me being too woke.
You are too woke. Get woke, go broke. So Money Plane is a plane that Kelsey Grammer is in charge of, is the spokesman for. No.
He wants to rob the money plane.
No, is he the ringleader of the heist? Okay.
He is robbing the money plane, and he hires Adam
Wait.
Edge Copeland.
We need to explain what the money plane is. They don't even know what the money plane is.
Well, so the money plane is anything you want it to be, according to Kelsey Grammer. If you want to play craps, if you want to, and again, if you want to play craps,
you want to play craps in international airspace, you might be on money plane.
If you want to bet on an alligator banging a dude,
you might be on a money plane.
How does that bet work, by the way? I have to know how that bet works. Does the bet, is it about whether or not
this is the line
who
from
tops,
a
who bottoms?
clip.
Yes.
This is a clip that was leaked. I don't know, released on purpose. I don't know, but
it's part of the trailer.
It's part of the trailer. Kelsey Grammer saying, you can bet on anything in the money plane, and as an example, you can bet on a man banging an alligator. What part of it you're betting on? Who's to say? That's the magic of the money plane.
Who's to say? So, according to the trailer, and I have so many questions about this, the money plane is a casino on a plane, and anything goes casino, where you can bet on anything. And Kelsey Grammer wants Edge to rob it because there's a bunch of cryptocurrency on the plane.
On the plane. As we know, the value of cryptocurrency is that it's physical and you store it on a plane.
Yeah, it's all Bitcoins are actual coins, and that's why people love it, not because it's in your computer. And so,
they're mining Bitcoin. Okay. And cocaine. Yeah. Okay, that's worth something.
Of course, cocaine. And so when Joe mentions Edge,
you can't have a money plane without
it's
cocaine.
important to say that the person he has hired to do this is played by none other than Adam Edge Copeland, WWE champion, ex-champion, and superstar.
Chris Hemsworth's tweaker cousin.
/ my wife's boyfriend.
Okay.
Everyone, look, he was everyone's wrestling boyfriend back in the 90s. So
looks like a buff, like Trevor from Grand Theft Auto. Like he got his hair back. Like Frank Trevor.
Yeah, Canadian sensation. And also on there is Thomas Jane, which just makes me sad. Because he was going to be the biggest star in the world for like a year. He was in everything.
I know that Maroon 5 album, Songs About Jane, that was all about him.
Yep. Whatever happened to Thomas Jane? So having watched the trailer and heard about, and one thing, I have a couple questions because I want to watch Money Plane more than I have wanted to watch anything in my life. Money Plane is my tenant. Like Money Plane is my Snyder Cut. Money Plane is the thing that I want to see more than anything that's come out this year. Look at it, it's amazing.
I've seen Brazzers sets that have more production value.
You could just put airplane seats in anything and call it a plane, man. You could make my apartment look like a plane for no money.
I have a question. Like Edge, that was back in the day when I was watching wrestling. He was an active wrestler. Now the appeal of casting a wrestler is like they can do some acrobatic, your suplexes, you're diving off the top ropes. Yep. You put them on a very cramped metal cylinder like an airplane full of roulette tables and business class seating
and gators. Apparently
there's no room for action there. Like it's all going to be gunfighting and awkward shoving.
But according to Kelsey Grammer, it's full of people who are thirsty for action.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Well, I think that's a great point. But it also it dovetails, Spencer, your and I's questions, while maybe not aligned in singles action, are maybe a tag team, a temporary alliance. There's only so many things you can do on a money plane. It is by definition very finite. Even the example given, a dude banging an alligator, like that's tough to do on a plane.
I'm under the impression that they are betting on the plane on events happening down below.
Interesting.
So they can cut away to really anything, to cut away to the bayou. Maybe a Chiron comes up and says, Floribama shore, we're on a fan boat. A man is looking at a gator. The gator's looking back at the man.
Okay, that's interesting. Also, subnote, I would also watch Money Fan Boat.
I would watch the crap out of Money Fan Boat. It kind of, this is one of the reasons why I love this so much is because it reminds me of, this is a weird off thing, but that's what we do here. Rihanna had this tour like 10 years ago where everything was on a plane, and she was on a plane with a bunch of journalists. And the first night, I guess, was crazy. She's like pouring shots in people. They're all riding the boat, like pouring shots in everyone's mouth, like all kinds of gross stuff you can't do now. And then she just locked herself in her suite for the plane for the rest of the ride. And like the reporters were reporting that like they needed to be freed from Rihanna's plane. There were hashtags that were like free the journalists. They were not getting fed. Like there were all of these things that journalists were saying on Twitter, allegedly, don't send me Rihanna. I love
like a reverse fire fest.
Like a reverse fire fest in the air. And so that's, I guess, kind of what the money plane reminds me of. It's just going to be like a bunch of drunk dudes on a lot of La Cocaína watching. Why can you do this in the air and not just in international waters? No one.
That's the big tactical error that the money plane has made, because I think the screenwriter of this, whoever they may be, heard international waters and thought international airspace sounded just as cool. But there's nothing easier to track than like an enormous jumbo jet. Like it's way easier to do that than to find a boat somewhere in the ocean. Like these things have enormous heat signatures and radar going off all over the place, and like they need to land at some point. You can't just, I'm sure they explain these things in the money plane. Probably a line by Kelsey Grammer saying it's totally untraceable, and that's all they do.
That's all well, another great thing about Money Plane, I don't think that they will, because I don't think they will have time, because Money Plane is a smooth 82 minutes long.
I love that. That I can get into.
That's exactly as long as Money Plane should be.
That's 82 minutes. That's a Quibi right there.
That is a Quibi.
But we don't know how to see it.
Yeah, I've been looking, because again, this is like the thing that I've been looking forward to more than anything this month. And I haven't been able to I know it's going to be available on VOD, according to stuff. And the company that distributes it works with across all platforms, but I have not been able to find one reliable piece of information that says how I am going to be able to drink White Claw and watch Money Plane when it comes out.
Which is tomorrow, right?
It is tomorrow.
It's out tomorrow.
Okay.
I was trying to see if we can get screeners, but
we don't know how to find Money Plane.
Don't know how to find the Money Plane.
You have to be invited onto the plane.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, not to get too real or emotional, but I immediately tied Money Plane to an ideal brightest timeline where we're allowed to leave our living rooms and I can watch Money Plane with my friends. Money Plane has become the solve for 2020 for me, and I want to be able to watch it.
Yeah, I think like that's a movie. I'm sorry, like I find some friends, make some friends. You got to watch Money Plane with people. Like that is which is one of the reasons why I want to see it. I was also, Ryan, did we figure out we know who distributes it, but are they the same as the studio who made it, or?
That's the best guess we have now. I've been able to find zero more information than what we were able to look up.
Because I just assumed it was a WWE film like that, because they make movies.
The idea that the makers of the Marine 1 through 18 passed on Money Plane. That's
no, yeah, we're not doing that.
So we got production companies is Dawn's Light and Taylor and Dodge.
Love Taylor and Dodge.
Yeah, IMBD. And then the distributors are 101 Films, which is the UK, and then here it's Quiver Distribution, USA.
So it sounds like we're gonna have to risk our lives and put on masks and go out to the closest red box, because I think it's gonna go. It'll be there. If I know Money Plane, I know that's the kind of movie you can find on a red box.
Yeah,
as a red box movie.
You want to bet on a man stepping outside in a pandemic to go to a red box?
Money Plane.
Money Plane. Ryan, what is the chat saying about Money Plane?
Oh, they're all in on Money Plane. Prince Apupu says he would get Quibi if Money Plane was on it, and I think we can all agree. Mm-hmm. And Zeno Hour says Money Plane should reopen theaters. Don't at him.
I will at you with praise.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we're going to take off here in a second. I do want to get to a couple of fan questions. This is via the community tab. And so I am going to...
do the second one, Danielle.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So Dan Staples asks, what movie prop, costume piece, or set piece would you own if money was no object? Same for TV. Mine would be Indigo Montoya's sword or Jake's Wayfarer sunglasses. For TV, the red phone from the Batman series or Dr. Theopolis hung from Twiggy's neck in Buck Rogers.
Those are very good picks.
Those are really good picks. Those are very solid.
I did have a meeting once with a guy. It was just like to talk through a writing thing, and like mid-meeting, he paused and he was like, he had these big like styrofoam like columns, like Greek ruin type columns in his living room. They're just sort of around in places, and he like stopped us mid-meeting and was like, "Do you notice them? These are from Lost." And I was like, neat. It's very nondescript. You know, it wasn't like he had the control panel with like the button on it. I don't know Lost well, so I think I'm saying a correct Lost.
There is a button.
There was a button, or like a piece
The
of
hatch
from the flight. Yeah, or the hatch or something. It was just like these nondescript columns that could have been from anything. And he was just, it was one of those moments where you're like, that's incredible. Because you just see the pride on their face and you're like, man.
Wow.
That doesn't matter at all. Yeah, I think for me, I would want to, they're both Buffy things. I would want Mr. Pointy, and I would want the class protector trophy. Those would be like the two things that I would want the most. And maybe like her really cool axe. It would all be Buffy stuff. Because I still, even though I'm not big on the Jossie right now, I still really into the Buffy. So yeah.
Well, aside from the money plane itself, or the lava lamp on the money plane, or the full stewardess flight attendant, sexy flight attendant outfit that seems to be required to work on the money plane, I'll go with the diamond Furby from Uncut Gems. I would like the diamond encrusted Furby with the working eyes.
Good pick.
And I will wear that proudly.
Hell yeah.
Good pick.
In my room.
Because we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
This is challenging. Sorry, I'm still locked in my brain where we live in a world where there's a money train or a money plane and a money train starring Brad Pitt.
Money, planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah. What if there's snakes on a money plane?
Snakes on a money plane.
Yes.
You know what? I'll go with that. Because I can't, my brain just shut down completely. I'll just go with all the fake snakes from Snakes on a Plane.
Just a pile of fake snakes. These were the snakes from Snakes on a Plane.
Or, you know what I would love to have is, the third act of Army of Darkness, where the skeletons are attacking Ash in the castle.
Sure.
The skeleton props they were just tossing them at him from like right off camera, and they're just clearly. I would like to have one of those signed by Bruce Campbell.
That's dope.
I would love to have.
And the chat has a couple things. I'm holding in the chat says a Fury Road car would be neat, but I think they destroyed them all, to be honest. That's a bummer. And then, hey, Craig. Craig says, I almost got an acoustic bass guitar from Nacho Libre off of eBay for $60, but someone outbid me at the last millisecond. Derek. Yeah, it was just gonna. And Derek M. Duke says the Grail from The Last Crusade.
Nice.
Daniel Bright would like to have a Batarang from one of the Batman movies.
Ooh, good
Very
pick.
cool.
Those are some really good picks. Do we have anybody else who had some good prop thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, there's a couple in there. Sorry, I'm trying to throw them in. Someone, Rob Turner said he wants the Kane from Citizen Kane, and that made me laugh. So
That's funny. All right, that's dope. So we are going to leave you. I come back tomorrow. We do the show every day, it turns out. And so we will see you then. Thank you so much for joining us. Money plate, money plate, money plate, money plate, money plate, money plate.